This will be a total restoration, dragged out over 2 or 3 videos. It's going to feel like work. There's no cheap fixes, no quick little things to do with wheels or anything like that. This is a traditional restoration. There are ways to change the wheels on these old Lesneys. What they call the regular wheel Lesneys, where they're tucked under the wheel arch, basically so they can make the wheel arches more realistic. These, in some ways, these are some of the best castings you or I or anybody else will ever mess about with. They're so well made. And the before my time, I feel funny messing about with them and cutting them and things like that, like you'd have to do to alter the wheels. I like to always treat these gently, these old timers. So speaking of which, even the paint, I was part of the plan originally was to try and preserve some of this paint because I did think it was enamel. It's not. It turned out not to be, as you'll see. As soon as we started kind of gentle, I was going to try and gently sand it and maybe re-lacquer it or something like that. But it's not. Once I start sanding, you see that nixed that idea fairly quickly. So yeah, I've drilled the rivets out. Not particularly expertly, if I'm quite honest with you. It took me a couple of goes to get that in there. But yep, there we go. It's open. So first thing really to look at is probably, normally what I do at this point is just get that body dunked into some thinners to get the paint stripped off. But on this occasion, I make this abortive attempt to try and save the paint. But it's funny watching this now, recording the voiceover, knowing that this is all kind of doomed, really. Although the square panel, the kind of opening back panel of it, I wasn't going to try and save the paint on that because it really does look quite poor. So yeah, that's my little fan of sanding pads. I'm all planned out, go down the grades with the sanding pads to get this old blue paint looking a little bit smooth so I could put some lacquer. I was presuming I was going to touch that in at some point as well, but as you can see, it all unravels quite quickly, and we have to have a bit of a change of plan. So yeah, this is it all unraveling right now as we speak. So everything that you see here is all doomed, wasted kind of labour, really. But that was the point when I realised it couldn't be saved, when I managed to get all that paint off just by 10 seconds with a 1000 grit sander. If that had been the old enamel that I thought it might have been, like somebody had painted it in the 70s or something like that, and that's what I was trying to kind of preserve. If it really had been like that, then there's no way this would have happened. So it's obviously just poster paint or something like that, and I just didn't look at it properly. So obviously that's the body off to get stripped now, so we'll move on to the glass. So the glass is very important, very, very fragile. A lot of years of like dirt and fading and things like that on this glass. So we're basically going to be going down through the different grades of sanding pad like we would have been doing with the body if that had come to fruition. I can't stress just how fragile this glass actually is. You can't really tell on here, but I'm really utilising all the different muscles in the ends of my fingers and things like that to sort of make sure I don't accidentally snap the glass while it's being sanded like this. Be very, very careful. That's all I'll say, because once you've wrecked a glass unit like this, you probably have to buy another one, or glue it back together and then heavily tint it or something. It's not ideal. I mean, when you've got one that's actually survived as well as this without really cracking or getting any real hairline cracks in it, treasure it and look after it, and make sure you're well, I sort of died on stage then, but I'm just going to leave it in. Why not? So yeah, you can see it's starting to improve. It's not, it will go cloudy like this at first, but you've just got to keep going. Just keep going. I mean, there's no limitation on how long you keep this going for, really. You can carry on going for it as long as you want. Just keep getting shinier and shinier and shinier. Once you get down to the really fine grit like that, you can anyway. I mean, obviously, if you kept going like that with the 1000 grit, you'd then just end up with none of the thing left. But I'm just waiting now till it comes back into view so I can see what I'm actually doing. That's the thing about recording the talking afterwards. Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, so by now I'm onto the pad that's basically started out in life as like a 3000 grit, and it's probably more like 8000 grit by now. It's done that much sanding. And the grit's actually degraded that much. It's almost just like a sponge, but there is still a little bit of a grit to it there. A little bit of it has still got some very, very, very fine teeth. So it will take a very fine layer off, and that's what polishing's all about. You can see now, if you look at the grid lines of the work mat, if you look at those through the glass, it's pretty clear. You can see through it properly. Obviously go just fine cotton pads but so far we haven't used any actual liquid polishes or anything on this. This is entirely been done with pads and water, and that's it. And that's actually how it is right through to the end. It's a 100% kind of polishless, chemicalless restoration of the glass. So yeah, you can see already, if you look through it, you get a nice clear image of what's there underneath it. I think this is just to show, how clear you can see things through it. I just used this base plate as an example. Yeah, I seem quite pleased with this, don't I? I'm showing it a lot. Right, so now we'll get started on the base plate itself. Again, this is something that there's really no limit to how long you spend on this. This is basically like a metallic toothbrush. It's like brass bristles on the toothbrush. That's the best thing to get started with this, just to get going. Again, there's no limit as to how long when it's only soft like this. So now begins an odyssey of the metal toothbrush, the coarse grade wire wool and the fine grade wire wool, all being used in rotation with each other over and over again until the base plate shines like new metal. That's pretty much what we're doing now. Start with the metal toothbrush, then go to the coarse grade wire wool, then go to the fine grade wire wool, and then just keep repeating that process in any order you like, really. You just keep having a go at it. Eventually you'll just get to the point where you A, think it's good enough and bright enough and shiny enough, and B, don't want to do it anymore. But while you are actually doing it, like all this, it's all very good fun. Well, I think it is. A lot of people who do this would use a Dremel at this point, a Dremel with some kind of polishing tool. Yeah, that will do it a lot quicker. But it's the same result at the end. As long as you have a good go at this and keep it going for a while and keep doing it and keep repeating the steps over and over again, you will get exactly the same highly polished, sort of almost chrome-like result at the end as you'll get with using an actual machine to do it. But I just much prefer doing it like this. It's literally hands-on. It just feels quite satisfying to do it, and you can just do it for as long as you feel like doing it, really, and maybe take a break every now and then and come back to it. But yeah, I just find it nice, quite nice to do, and just keep stopping every now and then like that, just to see how you're getting on, and see how it's coming up. And then, like I say, eventually you'll get to a stopping point. So now the interior with this one, it's probably quite a common thing with cars that are as old as this. Let's say it's 50, 60 years old. Well, definitely 60 years old. Yeah, the metal, the base plate and the body, yeah, they've stood up well to the years. But the plastic of the interior, it's gone quite brittle. And when I was flexing it about, you could hear it cracking as though at any moment it could just snap. So I've just had to be very, very gentle with how I've cleaned it. Just flooded it with washing up liquid and cotton bud. As you can see, it's cleaned it up very nicely. Washing up liquid really is it's a very useful tool for this kind of thing. But yeah, it doesn't look like I'm being that gentle, but I am being very gentle. I'm being very careful with how much I rub that. And same with the cotton bud, and same with drying it off afterwards with that thing that you can see sort of curled up in my hand. That's the thing that I'll be using to dry it off with. I don't know why I have to have hold of it all the way through this, but there you see. It's actually come out quite nicely. There's no real need for it to be any cleaner than that, so there's no point in risking breaking it by subjecting it to any harsher cleaning methods than that, really. I have noticed that the tow hitch has got the point missing, but we'll be doing something like that at the end. Not sure what's happening here, but I think the body is coming back from being stripped. Yep, we've got the wool out again, so I think that's what's happened. So yeah, it's similar procedures to the base plate, really. Just to get the. I use thinners to strip the bodies, because you can just put it in a coffee jar with a bit of thinners in. You only have to leave it about half an hour, and you can get it out again and start doing all this and getting the last bits off with wire wool and the brush and things like that. A lot of people prefer other things where you put like a gel on it or caustic soda, that kind of thing. Some of those things work instantly, some of them work overnight. My background is in painting real cars, so cellulose thinners is just what I know. If your background's in modelling, it'll probably be in other things like caustic soda. There's no right or wrong thing to use. This is just what I use. And it just means that after about half an hour or so, I can get the body out and just get the last few bits of paint that are clinging on there off with the metal brush, etc. So we've reached a stopping point for the project. Obviously, life gets in the way. We can't just continue. There's no point trying to blast through this whole thing and get right to the end in record time, because that's when you make mistakes, and you're better off putting it all back together, seeing and properly appraising what you've actually done. And it also means you get to see it looking like that, all weird and chrome, because it won't be like that for long. It won't be like that when we finish it off. It's going to be getting painted and things like that done to it. So for now, it's just good to put it back together and just have a look at it as this sort of weird thing in its intermediate stage. Also gives you a chance to see how good the glass looks. Look how nicely you can see the interior through the windscreen now compared to at the start. And you can just sort of see what sort of things you still need to do and what things you've done with. So I'd say the interior and glass we've done with now. Base plate, I'll probably do some more work on that. And body, obviously, there's still some paint left on there, so I'll need to give that another going over. Maybe the side glass is not quite as clear as the front, but overall, here we are. This is where we're up to. So until part 2, some of which has already been filmed, this is where we're at.